You got
This is
it?
my face.
No, I
No.
don't think so. It's not on her face. There you go. Thanks for taking the time and coming on the
Meeting you.
podcast.
You know what? Thanks for having
Yeah,
me.
yeah. Is your hair all blown out? Is that what that's called? Blown out? When it's
No,
like,
I just had it up and I took it down.
oh, look at that.
I guess.
Well,
You
your hair
can
looks
call it
nice. You got
blowout.
it done the other day. It looks really
Yesterday.
nice. Really fancy.
Yes.
Fancy pants. I was actually thinking about something the other day that I was like, I should bring it up on the podcast.
Oh no.
No, not about you. It's not.
Oh.
No, do you think
It
everything
is always about me.
Jeez.
When you say I've been thinking,
Yeah.
that usually means
We should see other people. Is that what you thought I'm going to go with?
I did something.
Oh, no. I was thinking the other day, you asked me a few episodes ago, what would I tell somebody or how do I deal without getting like burned out or something like, do you remember that question?
How do you
Like,
not get burnt out?
how do you not get burnt out?
like on a daily or weekly basis,
when
whatever it
when
is.
the timelines are, I think something along the lines like the timelines are approaching and you're stressed out about it. And I think the advice that I gave was monitor your gauges, right?
Mm-hmm.
Know when you're going to redline and whatnot.
It's hard to do though before you answer.
Sure. Which I already did answer a few episodes ago, but I would
it's
love to hear
also
you.
like, now that I think about it, it's really hard to monitor those gauges when you're close to being burnt out. So like it's kind of like cycle, right? You say monitor your gauges, but like if you're already getting close to being burnt out, you probably don't really know like what your gauges are at that point.
I don't think you're too far away from it.
You don't think so?
No, because if
You're like too far gone.
Yeah, because it's not like you went and took a razor to your hair and then cut it all off. Because I think at that point you're already at rock bottom.
Right.
If you're getting burnt out, that doesn't mean you're completely burnt out. You're just getting it. You're in the process of like feeling it. You could still pump the brakes on it, right? So if your car is redlining, your car didn't blow up yet. You're just treating it very unhealthy.
Okay.
So you can pump the brakes.
So when you say gauges, what does that mean?
Gauges
Also.
means is the way I read gauges is seeing, am I more irritable?
Right.
Am I not treating myself healthy? Am I eating junk food? Am I leaning towards things of comfort? Again, irritability is a big one. Am I very irritated? Do I feel like I am not happy? Meaning like, do I have time to go do the things that I enjoy that make me happy? I think it's very important for people to do things that really make them happy. And I think everybody needs to have that self-awareness of exactly what do they really enjoy doing.
Is that what you were gonna say?
No. I mean, no, I definitely was not. But I will definitely piggyback of why I brought that up.
Okay.
But to answer your question about the gauges, that's what I think. And I think it's actually be surprised how many people don't know what they like to do. Like it's the age-old question, what do you like to do for fun? They go, I like to hang out, go out with my friends. Like those are such vague things. They basically are saying they like to be invited to a place or be in good company, which we all like to do.
Right.
But do you have
What's something that you love to do for
activities,
yourself?
specific activities? I also learned about myself that you have to establish activities. You can't do everything because you can be on one extreme where you don't know what you like and you don't have hobbies and all that stuff. And then you have the other extreme where you get into everything and anything. And I feel like I have a tendency to fall into that category where I get excited about different things.
You do.
But then you have to have this list inside of yourself of like, what activities bring you joy? And I figured those activities for myself. Like and a lot of things.
Those change too.
They change. You can cycle through them, but it's good to have at least on one hand that you can count of things that you can go do or you're looking forward to doing. And they can include a huge thing like, I love traveling. Well, you can't travel every month. So
Small things.
small things. Do you like to go golfing? Do you like to I like to take the car out and go for a drive on the sports car. I like to go and sit in the hot tub that by myself and watch a podcast or a show. I like to I already said golf, but I like to ski. I try to go get a massage every month or two just to kind of like feel like I'm recharged again. So those things I think is very important, and I think that all ties into monitor your gauges. If you're not doing those things, like if you're not going and playing that sport that you like to play, if you constantly feel like there's not enough time in the day, that will make you
feel more burnt out.
More burnt out. But I don't think you're ever too late if you're feeling it until you did something drastic and you have no joy or you have no motivation.
You can never like get unburnt out. Like once, I mean, you can like, so it's not like that's like the last stop. You get burnt out and then you just die. Even if you do get burnt out, you can still find a way to recharge by doing those things.
Yeah, I have usually twice a year, I have these like 24-hour or like 12-hour dark periods. They're of like
overwhelming.
I'm drained. I'm completely drained.
It catches up to you.
Yeah, I think so. I don't know what it is, but I feel like 1 or twice a year, I have this like slump day. And I don't want to do anything, and I'm not motivated by anything. I think
we all feel that.
It almost feels like you've drained every bit of energy out of your body and motivation. But going back to answering that question, I was thinking about it the other day.
Did you have one of those moments recently?
Getting close to burned out, yes.
But not
that dark day. Not that dark day.
Not the dark day.
Not the dark day.
Is it coming?
I don't know when it happens. It comes out of no particular reason. It's just like you just kind of wake up and, you know, I'm sure it has a lot to do with like you didn't sleep well.
I feel like I have those more than twice a year.
More than twice a year. Yeah. You're more regular on a more monthly schedule.
I would probably say like maybe a week out of the month.
And so I was thinking about this the other day because I was kind of getting close to getting burnt out. Yeah. So the little background story there is, we are working on a project. Well, first of all, I just came out of like this. If you listen to any of the previous episodes, the shower has been a crazy problem. But then the painting the house, the exterior was a big saga. And so I'm just coming out of these. It
feels like that was almost like a dream.
Yeah.
The exterior wasn't.
Yeah, it feels
like a long time ago.
Fuzzy for sure. And so I came out of there. And I always have this perspective, okay, next month's project, they're going to be simpler. So next month, I'll probably be able to take some time off from content or take a few breaks off. Remember we used to do like a week off between like big projects? No, I don't do that. Because you'd probably still be editing.
He still is working.
You
would do like, not a week. I think you would do like 3 to 5 days.
To me, that's like a week.
A work week. Okay, I guess, yeah. 3 days is a week for you. You can get so much done in 3 days.
Dude, seriously.
Kyle's like, I don't remember that.
But so I'm approaching this month's projects, and I'm doing a built-in grill for the backyard. Something that's unique because I want to build something that you can move with you when you're done and not leave with the house. Anywho, and the other project was a kid's playground, and that's what I'm building right now. And I actually haven't posted anything on social media, so if you guys are listening to this podcast, you're getting first insider information on the next. So I'm building this like outdoor
insider info
outside playground. And the problem with the outside playground is that it's at your parents' cabin, which is a 2-hour drive outside of here. And it was one of those things where
sound like a good idea.
Well, it was fine, but whenever you have to build off site, you have to coordinate life, and you can't drive up there every single day. And, you know, Kyle comes up with me. If it was by myself, like I used to film before, I could just come up there for the cabin stay and then build for a few days and then come back. When you have somebody else, they have a family too. So, you know, you have to help out with the kids. So we came up there and one of the sides, it's like a pyramid shaped playground that I'm building. And each side has its own like climbing obstacle or style. And one of the things, the measurements, it was more of like an abstract angle that I would have to be able to attach the wood to the thing, right? So it's not just clear and dry. And so I couldn't figure out how to make it that way. And so we're wasting time of me just scratching my head, walking around, maybe a solid hour. Finally changed the plans, got it going. And then the plan was to come back in, you know, about 2 days or so I'm not up there, you know, driving every single day, and get started on this grill. So basically do 2 projects at once and be done with one a lot sooner. Well, as we're driving back, like we're kind of basically planning out. Okay, maybe we'll come back, in 2 days, and then but between him and I, we both have lives, right, and families and obligations. So it's like, well, I can't come on this day,
I've planned
and
for
then
us.
I can't. Yeah, and then I can't. Yeah, you're very good at putting a lot of things in the
On a
calendar.
calendar. The summer's a busy summer.
Hey, but you're making it. You're saying yes to
know.
everything.
No.
No. We just came back from the cabin for the weekend, and the next thing you know, Tuesday you booking somebody out for coming over for dinner, and then Thursday or Friday, like you're just booking stuff, And to me, I kept looking back. In fact, we're going up. So anywho, and this is in fact the next time we're going up, you book somebody else for dinner at our house again.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was next Monday. Yeah, you're throwing, here's what it is. It feels like with your bookings. It feels like I'm riding a bike that is falling apart. And
Wow. Wow.
And
wow.
and it's shaking, and there's a
That is so triggering.
And there's a I know, from your childhood story. And then there's a fire that's chasing me behind, and I'm just hoping I could
And
pedal.
I'm the one with the fire behind you.
Yeah. No, you keep throwing gasoline on this fire so it gets there faster. That's what it feels like.
Oh my gosh. Well, how am I supposed to know? You sprung this on me.
I'm sorry, me creating content, I sprung this
Yeah.
on you?
Well, like the days that you're going to do it. You just told me that you were going to come back Monday after I had already planned the
No,
dinner.
you put that in before. I had to coordinate for Monday. So here's what ended up happening. So between Kyle and I, we're like, I can't do this day. I can't do this because you booked somebody. And then we're doing this back and forth. And so the only possibility was to go the next day. So we just came back from the cabin, 2-hour drive as a family. The following day is 4th of July. We come back in town. We're doing the 4th of July thing that you had planned with some friends. And then the next day, I'm driving to this 2-hour trip again. And then come back. And then the only opportunity is to come back the next day again after I just put in a 10-hour workday of building and driving. And it's 5 hours back and forth total of driving.
A day.
And so I was in this moment of like, the project's not going right. I'm building off site, which is you're out of your comfort zone. And I'm exhausted after building for 5 hours, but then driving for another 5. And the last thing I want to think about is the fact that I have to do this again tomorrow. I have to come out here and drive here again. And it was one of those moments that I was like getting burnt out from.
You're probably getting like anxiety about it.
Just, I don't know if
Thinking
anxiety is
about
the
having
right
to do
word,
it.
but it's just like, I was extremely dreading it.
Yeah.
To the point that I just don't even want it. Like, I don't want to even think about the fact, but I know it's a reality that the next day, in just a couple hours, I have to do this again. And I remember when you were asking this question, and that's a perfect opportunity for me going, well, I should look at my gauges. But the reality is that still needed to happen, and it still needed to be done, and it still needed to be done on that day. So there's nothing I could have done to look at my gauges and shift course. So the conclusion that I came to is there is a time and place. I don't know if it applies every time, but definitely for me that I realized that shit just needs to get done. It just needs to get done. There's nothing you can do about it. There's nothing well, maybe I'm just monitoring my gauges and I did this and I planned it and nothing is avoiding you from coming back tomorrow. So you just have to tip your head down and just push through. And so sometimes that's just kind of the only answer to when you're about to get burned out is get shit done.
Push through it.
Push through it.
I think also when you say like monitor your gauges, when you know you have to get it done, I think the most important part is being aware of like how you're feeling, how your irritability, like how you're responding to your family, to your kids. Like if you're, I think, at least aware of that, you're already doing better than you probably did before.
That's true.
Because I agree, 100% agree with you. There's moments where there's literally nothing you can do. You have to push through that project, whatever you're working on, because it needs to get done. There's a timeline, there's a deadline. You can't just like be like, I'm going to put it on the back burner. I'm going to do my fun activity that I need to do for myself, like a massage. You can't do that. You have to push through it and get it done. But I think in that moment, if you're at least aware of the things you're feeling and like how maybe coming home, you're aware of like, okay, instead of like coming home in a bad mood,
don't hit anybody.
Maybe I should like actually come home and make myself be a little bit more like chipper or something.
But when you're so fatigued and exhausted, how do you turn on the chippiness?
I don't know if you can turn it on, but at least be aware and mindful of how you're coming across to.
Don't be more destructive, essentially.
Yeah. Don't be like purposefully like, this is the worst day. Like, it, you know, if you're like negative and you're thinking negative thoughts,
okay,
you're going to like come across as like a total jerk.
Yeah.
But if you're thinking, even though you're fatigued and you're just, I don't know, I just feel like the positivity, if you have that, it really goes a long way. That's why when you came home the other night, we're like, Dad's home, even though I was so exhausted from having the kids by myself for whatever, 12 hours.
Now, let me ask you this. Can you really do that when you are fatigued? Like when you're not just, it's one thing when it's been a mentally stressful day. Right?
Do you mean like physically fatigued?
Physically fatigued.
I don't know if you can do that, but I think you can.
Because that's what I felt.
Still be positive.
That's what I felt.
You can still be tired, but not be a negative Nancy.
Can you still go like?
Like you did well.
I did well.
Yeah.
Are you sure the first day?
The first day we were fine. The first day I was in a bad mood.
The second day I felt like I did better.
Yeah.
And you know
because
why?
We greeted you.
Well, yes,
very
you did.
positively.
You did. You guys put good vibes out. But also,
it is. I think it's the vibes. It's like the mood that you set for yourself. That's how it's gonna be.
But also, you guys aren't the and I hate to take this away from you, but you guys are not the ones that are fully responsible for me feeling less fatigue. The credit is due to a little company called 5 Hour Energy that I chugged right before getting the guy. No, I swear.
Yeah, I know. I get it.
And the thing is, I chugged it after fasting all day, meaning like we didn't have time to eat lunch. So it was like,
were you so jittery?
We got in the car.
Oh my gosh, I bet
like
you were
close to 5 o'clock. I have not eaten anything all day. I chugged that thing, and I told Kyle as I was driving, 15 minutes into it, I was like, dude, my eyes are pinpoint right now. Like I felt so like wired and alive, not jittery, but just like eyes are beating out.
Could you see in the fourth dimension?
I saw the fifth dimension. Dang. Yeah, I saw interdimensional beings. Sick.
Interdimension. Wow, what do they look like?
Well, they look like trolls. But and it was that extra strength too. So because I had this jolt of something,
it helped.
My legs and arms were still tired, but I had enough of a pick-me-up to. That's why when I came home and you made dinner, I still went and did the dishes just because I had some juice.
Throw that out there on the podcast.
Did you hear that?
To hear.
Did you hear that? I build and do the dishes.
I build and
watch
do the
out,
dishes.
ladies. He's taken. So that's
all the moms at home are going, putting their teeth on their bottom lip.
You're describing the action.
In case you're not watching this on YouTube.
Which you should. So that was a good realization.
Yeah. I feel like I feel that a lot is I'm starting to get to this point of like frustration, irritability, a mood that's like just horrible. And then there's times where it doesn't work to tell myself to be like chipper.
You're good at changing your attitudes.
But there's times where I actually like just tell myself, do not be negative, be positive, think like good thoughts. You love your family's amazing. Like just bring it up to here. Mm-hmm. And then I feel like it works. I feel like for me, the energy shift really works.
Mm-hmm. Interesting.
For you, somebody else has to have the energy shift.
Very true.
For you to match it.
That's so interesting that you notice that about me.
Oh, 100%.
Because...
And sometimes I get frustrated or upset about it because...
I don't do it back.
because you don't do it back to me. So I always feel like I'm always the one that has to like lift the mood. And I feel like that's like so much pressure on me to do it. But then it comes to me more naturally than it does to you. So it's like, why does it matter? Why does that make me feel? It's not like everything's on my shoulders, but sometimes I do get a little upset at you for doing.
Well, rightfully so. That's rightfully so, because it's so helpful when somebody does that. The problem with me is I'm in my head too much, right?
Yeah.
And so if I'm having these conversations with myself in my head, it doesn't work. So now I will say this: I've grown. I think I've grown quite a bit in the last year. And the reason I think I've grown to be less in my head about certain things. Like there's times that I used to hold bigger grudges against you based off of things that you didn't even know, the things you just did. And I just read it, the intention.
You read into it.
Yeah, I read into
it. Yeah, the wrong
intention. And I did that a lot with other people. But I don't know. I've started kind of working on myself about those things. And I feel like I've matured a little bit to not do that as much. So I've also realized that kind of snowballed into having less outbursts on like kids or something like that, because there's some kind of like moment of that I keep seeing moments where I would have just like shouted, but instead I just kind of was like more like, okay, come on, knock it off. You know what I mean? Like
it's because you have the awareness now.
Probably.
I think you have, I will say, in the last maybe few years, you've really grown in not letting things get to you. I will say that.
Interesting. Well, it's encouraging that you've noticed something like that. because
it's very true. And I think with me and the kids, because there were times when you would get into your head and make something a bigger deal than it was when my intention wasn't that.
Yeah.
And I do the opposite. I let things go and let things slide maybe a little too much, and give people the benefit of the doubt a little too much, where I'm a little too trusting, and that ends up backfiring on me because people take advantage of that. And anyway, That's a snowball effect. So we're like the complete opposite.
Right. Yeah. No. I mean, it's encouraging that you're noticing that, because I didn't know, because usually
definitely I've noticed
you definitely don't, nobody wants to say stuff like that.
Like
about
I'm
themselves.
Amazing.
Right. Well,
did you see how much I've grown? Did you see how amazing I am with my kids?
Because you might think that you're saying it prematurely. Maybe you just had a lucky couple of weeks. But it's nice to hear that is working. And I don't know, I truly feel like there's something like maturing, and maybe there's a lot of personal attention that I'm giving myself through like working out, and like even taking that time, like I mentioned in the last podcast, like that 10-15 minutes of just like try to meditate and just breath work, where after that I feel like I could finally blow my air out, like relax my lungs. I always feel like I'm always chasing all these deadlines, and that I feel like I'm holding my breath. And now by just like exhaling all that out through just these small moments of breath work, it just feels like there's more patience there.
And it's like almost like when you have that, you, instead of reacting to what your kid is doing, you are responding to what your kid's doing. Yeah. So you're not reacting.
Did you read that in the book? Did you hear that in a podcast or something?
I've heard it somewhere, but actually this is my own.
Because the way you said it, I was like, that's some like next level stuff.
No, I've heard it before in multiple sources. People, I don't know.
Especially when there's two words that start with the same letter. Don't react, respond.
No, I've heard it so many times. I don't know what the OG source is, but everybody talks about it. But it's the
OG. So when you said OG source, OG doesn't stand for original. It stands for original gangster. So you don't just slip that in there, and then don't just walk away like pretend like that didn't happen.
I've been saying OG wrong all my life.
Are you serious? You've used this before? This is not the first time? OG is original gangster.
I know that, but I've always used it as like original.
It's the same, like when I use a word that's not what it means. People are like, why are you so confident?
Oh okay.
Like I used the word precedented the other day, and then
was it the wrong
somebody
context?
was like, I don't I don't think you know when to use that word.
Somebody called you out?
Well, no, the way they look.
Oh,
the way
they're like,
yeah.
oh my gosh. Well,
You've described original.
it was the
as
original
OG.
gangster source. So whatever.
Do you know what's that?
I was saying it right.
Do you know what's like another thing that you've done, but also so many girls is
What?
you guys will be like you'll say not that you'll use that as an example, but somehow you'll throw in the oh yeah that's because that's a DP, and you think it's just a deep penetration. And I was like, no, DP is double penetration.
Okay, first of all, I've only probably said that once in my life.
You have said it only once,
Once.
but you also have like some of your
But
friends.
we
I've
all
heard
thought
of. Yeah,
that's what it meant.
Everyone-
Why is that?
I don't know. You guys need to Google some stuff.
I don't want to Google that.
No, but I think
Don't wanna Google
You
that.
could say like, hey Alexa, what is
What does DP mean?
today I was actually even driving home. Oh, you know what I was driving?
Thinking about that?
No. I was driving, and you keep hearing like in the gay community that in a gay relationship there's somebody's a top and somebody's a bottom, and I've always like, well, yeah, that makes sense. So somebody is the giver, they're the pitcher, if you will. They're on the bottom. If somebody's the receiver, they're on top. But turns out top and bottom in that context, it's different. It's like reversed. So if you're the bottom, you're being received. You're receiving. If you're the top, you're doing the giving, the pitching. And so I literally asked Google, what is top and bottom gay? Well, it was like
Was it a list? Or was
No.
it a little paragraph?
no, yeah,
Or
it was
was
just
it
it was
some
like
images?
it was just an Urban Dictionary that would
Urban
be like
Dictionary.
that's my
That's
best
the
trusted
good
source.
source.
You're right.
You know it's the right things when it's Urban Dictionary.
It's straight from the source. It's
That's why I should have looked up
LMA
DP.
Resources. DP.
On Urban
I bet you there's an answer for it on Urban
I don't
Dictionary.
want to see it. Do you
But-
think there's an image?
Well, if you go to images, probably yeah.
Oh
You
my
did-
gosh. I can't believe I've been saying OG wrong all my life.
Oh, well, this is great.
Well, at least in the last 3 years.
Yeah. Yeah. Well. Yeah.
And now we're completely off topic, which I
Secrets
don't even
out.
remember what you were talking
Secrets
about.
out. React,
Yes.
respond, and not
Wow,
react.
that's quite a tangent. I have heard it I'm sure you've heard it a million times too, but I think there's a moment when you do mature into, instead of reacting with emotion, you kind of like take in what just happened, whatever the scenarios. Are you zoning out?
No, I'm focusing.
Your eyes are going.
Are they really? I'm staring at like your microphone, the
Oh.
soft part of the microphone.
I thought you were staring at my lips.
Well, I can't because it's covered by the
right
microphone.
here.
Okay. Go ahead. Proceed.
Proceed.
Onward.
Onward, upward. I feel like the moment passed of being serious.
Well, I would love to hear your thoughts on this.
No, I was just saying, I feel like I've noticed that about you, where before it would be like this quick reaction when they would do something, which I still tend to do because it's freaking annoying sometimes. But I've noticed that you
What
kind of
mother talks like this about their kids?
I didn't say they're annoying. I said their reaction, the situation
Allegedly.
is annoying.
It's like some lawyer.
When there's tape all over my house and paper
Yeah.
and glue and glitter.
Now you're not as bothered by that stuff as I
Oh
am.
my gosh, I'm so bothered.
You don't react.
I don't react. I respond.
I react the shit out of that.
I react. I
Yeah.
react hard
Yeah.
to that because it's the stuff around the house. I just can't. Anyway, but I've noticed that now you kind of, it's almost like you take a second and you go, okay. And then you kind of talk to them about whatever just happened. And they still, if it's like something they did that they shouldn't have done, they still get the discipline behind it. But I feel like you're a lot more calm when you say it
I also think.
and respond.
I
Why
also
are you crying?
I don't know. It's just very emotional.
What I just said?
Well, yeah. I'm kidding. No, I was rubbing my eye. It started watering. I also think having Harper being the youngest of three
Something
and the only girl,
changed you having a girl.
because I have to be a lot softer with her. I can't hold her to the same standards of discipline as the boys. And,
It's just different, yeah.
And then also seeing the way she like reacts when I'm in the room and how excited she gets. I don't want to ruin it. So
Yeah.
the
But
last
that's
thing,
like seeped into your relationship with the boys in a good way too.
well, they better thank Harper because
No, because I think now you're noticing like you're really like calm and gentle with her, and you're like, well, I can be both with the boys. You know?
yeah, it's causing me to practice when she loses her mind
Tough
and
and
starts
tender, right?
right. But when she starts screaming because she wants something and she can't have it, there's a part of me that goes, okay, well, not a part of me. I'm motivated to go, okay, just calm down. It's fine. You'll be fine. And she's screaming bloody murder. I'm like, you're
Yes,
fine.
like it's fine.
And so because I'm in those like hot zones and I'm just talking normally, it's almost like practice for me that when the boys do something,
You're still kind of in
I'm
that.
kind of in the zone of calmness, I guess. It's weird.
It's good.
Yeah.
It's great.
Yeah. You want me to change? I'll stop.
Yeah.
Should I stop?
Keep channeling that hot zone.
Hot zone.
Whatever you want to call it. The hot spot.
The danger zone.
The danger
Yeah.
zone.
So that's good. I mean, all of that stuff and burnout. Listen, I think the more things you do and the more creative you have to get and the more you're pushing kind of like the next level of whatever you're doing, you have to figure
So what are
out.
your top like 5 things that you like to do
I really enjoy golfing
as of recently?
as of recently. I really enjoy archery. I really enjoy
You haven't done that in a little bit.
driving my car. That makes me really happy. I really enjoy getting massages. I really enjoy skiing when it's in season. I really enjoy boating, but the problem with boating stuff, it's
It's a little stressful.
because you're organizing the whole launching and and packing up and unpacking and getting the trailer. So it's more of like a chore. But once you're there, and it's really fun. But when it comes to just me, like what I enjoy doing, those are the big top
Oh,
ones.
interesting. You didn't name a top one that
What?
really usually relieves your stress.
I like sex. Sex is really fun. It's cool.
I thought that'd be on your top.
It's really cool.
It's really
well,
cool.
maybe after I'm done driving my car, and there's
And
time.
golfing.
And there's time.
And there's time.
Today was a really a day that made me really happy because I've been stressed out with all this. It was such a
And you've been doing those early morning tea times.
yeah. But just because it gets hot.
Yeah.
But today's been a really good day, and the reason why is I got to go golfing early morning, and then I played the best game I've ever played.
Winning.
The best game I've ever played, and I felt incredible because of that.
Did you look good?
I looked great. My
What were you
outfit was
wearing?
on fleek.
Would you say on par?
On par. Nicely done. And then I got to drive my car. It's always like an event because I get to drive the sports car there. So you're kind of already in this like good vibe.
You're already driving.
And then I came home. I got to still get a workout in. And then after that, I finally figured out like how I'm going to execute this project with the built-in grill part. Mm-hmm. Because of the way I'm trying to make it to be able to be movable kind of thing. And yet super solid and super big and materials to use to be able to accommodate it. I finally got clarity. The whole time I kept like thinking. And because I've been so busy, I didn't have time to like actually sit down and get inspired. Mm-hmm. And here's what's interesting. This is based off of the book that we were talking a few podcasts ago, Stealing Fire, about there is this like zone that you can get to where the zone is not only focus, but the zone is also inspiration, and the zone is also it's almost like life-giving because the zone is like almost like an idea producing space. Mm-hmm. And I got into that space today, and it was
good.
Well, it almost, and I'm trying to like start understanding those spots more and more. So, for example, so that was something that was really joy. And then I got to be accomplished, and I'll touch base on what I'm talking about. But then we got to start the project today finally, and we got the part that I want to get done. You know what I mean? Like it's Friday, and it's just like
You're gonna go dancing today.
very life-giving, and so that made me all really, really happy.
Yeah.
And that kind of recharged
and you needed that probably.
I needed a W.
stressful-
Yeah, I needed a W. But here's what I want to talk about really quickly. The zone that I'm talking about. I'm really trying to like study these feelings and when they come. Like one of the things is like, because the zone could be anything and everything for many people. So in the book, he describes it as a zone, like when the Navy SEALs walk into a room, 8 people deep, they're in such harmony with that communication, where when one guy looks left, the guy to his right looks automatically right to like clear a room, right? But the guy that looks right, he doesn't look at the guy on the left to see where he's looking. He's naturally, it's almost like 8 people.
There's a flow.
There's a flow. But then he also said Navy SEALs, when they're in the right state of flow, their whole thing is to not only lead, there's a team leader, but also to be led. So when somebody comes to, let's say, a problem, somebody else steps up with a solution, and he automatically takes charge from that leader. And then the next leader does the same with the next problem solution. So they're all solving problems and moving forward together harmoniously. So that's a place of zone. That's what is being described. Now, zone can also be a place of where you all of a sudden got an aha moment of how to solve a problem that you've been scratching your head, or an inspiration about how to make something a little bit more different. So with me, in my line of work, the zone comes from project ideas, a really good idea, or the hook, right? Like, what's the hook? Some kind of, not I built a thing, but how do I spin it? And I've been scratching my head about this particular like playground build, because it's a really cool build, but I also needed to kind of hook people. Mm-hmm. And I've been just going over and over, but I also didn't have time to actually slow down and think.
Because you just are go.
I'm right go. But also, even when we were at the cabin and I was really relaxed, there's kids and there's you, and we're even if we're like,
always doing something.
Even if you're like, let's go do something, like let's go on the paddle boat.
You're not thinking about work. Yeah.
When I'm on the paddle board, I'm trying to not fall. So I'm like focusing not to fall.
Yeah.
So the zone, or the muse, if you will, sometimes even it's called, that muse comes sometimes, and you almost have to figure out when that time is. And when you have that aha moment, like the other day I had the aha moment, I really focused on that moment and be like, okay, this is a feeling. You're feeling something right now, and it's a feeling of a really good idea, and it's a feeling of this inspiration that just came to you. But how you got there, you have to figure out how to recreate.
Mm-hmm. So you can do it again.
So you can do it. It almost sounds somewhat spiritual, and but I don't know what it is, but it's because you're driven by this feeling. It's like how a song can make you feel. Mm-hmm. A song can make you feel excited. A song can make you feel really sad. And so I really, like, that's another thing that I really am cherishing, is finding these places. And I started understanding a little bit more about myself, how much I really love when people have ideas and they're good ideas. Mm-hmm. And I get to be part of those people, or those people get to be part of it. Kyle had a really great idea the other day, like insight on like the way we're going to spin something. And I felt really good, because I felt that, because he's been doing this with me long enough that he knows what we want to accomplish. Mm-hmm. And when somebody brings a good idea to the table, you're almost like, and you're inspired by the idea, you're almost like in that state of zone and flow.
It's even better too, because now you have like 2 people thinking about
absolutely
the same
but
idea.
I love good ideas that are brought to the table. Mm-hmm. That's really, it almost feels like a place of the zone for me. So those are,
you're saying you want me to bring you good ideas?
Yes. Well, you do the same thing too. Like whenever you'll execute a thumbnail, well, like when you give me the idea of something, it's the same exact feeling. Like there's this collaboration and a flow of that. We're all part of the same mission. And these are great ideas that have the potential of doing something really great. Mm-hmm. So when you get to those places, burnout is, your cup of, before being empty and burning out, it gets filled again. Mm-hmm. And then you feel like, because there's so many times.
Now you're in that like flow again, in that zone of like pushing forward,
inspiration and creativity, because end of the day,
hustling,
your inspiration, if you don't have ideas, good ideas, then you don't have a job on YouTube,
right?
So you can't just go,
you have to keep them coming. Yeah,
you have to keep them. There has to be good ideas, whether it's production or topics or an approach or a thumbnail. it has to be a good idea, and you're basically fishing for them all, and so it's really easy to get burned out when there's no ideas.
I feel like that's when you do get burnt out, when you're out of ideas.
Yeah. There's so many times
That's why it helps when somebody else brings an idea, because there are times when you feel like, I don't know what else I can come up with.
Right.
And somebody, even when it's not maybe the idea that's going to be the perfect idea, but at least they're bringing in a fresh idea where you go, oh, let's roll with that, and then maybe mold it into something else.
Correct.
And I really like that too, because I feel like that's what we do a lot of times.
Yeah. It's the worst people are the people who you go, do you have any thoughts about this? And they go, no, what everybody said was good. I think what you're going with is good. And the reality is you need ideas, because sometimes, like you said, when you'll be driving and you'll look at something completely random and you'll have an idea about something that has nothing to do with that, but somehow it brought you to think about that thing. And I've been in this place so many times. You need those people to at least have some idea, so they can at least navigate you to a place.
Yes. Wherever that is, no matter what, it helps.
Yeah.
You get somewhere.
The worst people are the people, like I said, I don't know. No, it looks good. I don't know.
But that's like my default. Is I'm that person that goes, it looks amazing, because I never want to correct or criticize somebody.
Right.
But I'm learning that I need to bring something to the table.
You just have to have something, even nothing good. You don't need to have, but you need to have something. Yes.
Because that's where you collaborate and work towards something better. And I'm learning that. I feel like that all my life I was never like that. It was always like, whatever you think is right. Is beautiful.
Yeah.
Because I'm such a people pleaser, I can't criticize somebody.
It's funny though, because you're people pleaser. Because you'd imagine a people pleaser would be like, no, I need to make them happy so I can come up with a good idea to make them happy.
But you don't want the person. So as a people pleaser, you don't want the person to think that your idea is like going above their head or bringing something new. I think that's where, like, for me, where it comes from.
You don't want to be a superstar.
I like being like behind the curtain. Yeah. I don't want to be front and center. I love what, so it's
funny you say that, because you're on social media.
I know, but I'm not really like.
You're an influencer.
Not really.
Yeah, you are. You have like 40,000 followers.
No, I don't. I have 33. 34. Okay.
Well, that's a lot of followers.
But the thing is, I don't like being front and center, so it's very hard for me. That's why I think I struggle with like having like I have a lot of times where I just don't want to post, or I just don't feel like it, because it's not a natural, maybe it's not a natural thing for everybody, but to me, I don't like it. And so to be front and center and to be like an influencer for me is like so exhausting.
So then
I think I've just realized that recently.
So then you do this as a hobby? Because if I thought about it myself and be like, I just don't want to post, I wouldn't have a job.
No, but it's not that. It's like you had the idea. You're very outgoing. You are hilarious. I think you naturally are kind of front and center person, your personality.
Correct. I agree with that. Yes.
I'm not.
Right.
It takes a lot of effort for me to do that and to be that way. So it's almost like I'm forcing myself to be somebody I'm not.
Do you get a high from like piece of content that performs very well?
Yeah, I think we all do.
Right. So, but I chase that. But then the thing that I hate the most is when I do put myself out there and I, publish stuff and it doesn't get, good engagement, then I feel very bad about myself.
Yeah. Like it affects your
So it's not necessarily that I just want to keep putting stuff out about myself. I just want to put out stuff that
does
works.
Well. Yeah. I get that part. I think we all experience that to a certain level, like when your video like does really well or a picture, but I don't, it's so hard to explain it because I think I'm not wired the same as you.
Correct.
And are we going with the yawning again?
Listen, the yawning is going to be there every single time we record because I get done working and then now I have to sit down.
True. I guess it's really hard to explain because you're not that way. And even though we all have this level of, I don't want to do it. It's my job. I have to do it. I have to keep going forward and pushing. I think with social media, something is like off for me, and I can't really explain it. Isn't that interesting?
That is interesting. I mean, I get it.
But I also feel like we're in this flow, if you will.
You're right.
I'll wrap it up with that. Of you're working at like 100%. So the kids are out for the summer. I'm with them at home. So it's like I can't focus as much on that stuff right now anyway. And so I have taken more of this like kind of taking the summer off approach to all my social media and stuff. So that way you can still work.
Right.
And
I
the kids
appreciate
are
that.
not,
Yeah.
all over.
Yeah. And I definitely appreciate it. And it definitely is helpful.
I don't know. So I think in the fall, maybe it will be a little bit easier to pick back up. But I don't know. I'm kind of enjoying this summer.
Huh. Must be nice. It seems like the amount of stuff you're booking on the calendar.
I'm laughing because I'm stressed out every day by the kids. But I'm so enjoying this summer.
Yeah, I'm in the present. Well, this has been fun.
I'm just present with the kids.
It's nice to hear how burnout is affecting us all.
It is. It does, though, doesn't it? To some degree.
Absolutely.
Burnout can affect you with kids. It can affect you with your relationship.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. It's just anything you can get burnt out by. It is. I think you're absolutely right. You do watch your gauges, but you also enjoy the things that make you happy. You know what mine are? I like taking baths.
That's That's a hobby. Okay.
It doesn't have to be a hobby. Something that makes you feel happy.
Sure. Okay. That's fair because it's like me sitting in the hot tub.
Yeah.
Okay.
The hot tub thing. I like going in to get my nails done. I feel like that
nice,
is
It's like an event. It's like a pampering thing.
Yes, it's like the pampering thing. It feels good, and then you feel like this, like refreshed kind of feeling.
I get it. It's like when you girls get bangs and then you don't get bangs.
And then you don't get bangs again for a long time. Should I get
It's like
bangs?
a new identity. Okay, what else? What else do you got?
I enjoy working out.
That's very important. I
actually really look forward to it now.
The funny thing is, when I answer emails, I actually worked out today after golf because I like the feeling that I get. But
it's like it's like a habit you formed, and now your body is like telling you it's craving it. And I love that feeling.
Again, going back to the same book, Stealing Fire, in it he talks about, and I mentioned this on the previous episode, about altered state of consciousness. And it's not necessarily taking mushrooms or getting high. It's by you drinking coffee and getting stimulated, that's altered state of consciousness. By you working out and having the endorphin release, that's an altered state of consciousness. And I've realized, and this is the most inefficient, but I can't do anything about it, when I answer emails, I'm doing it while I just woke up and I have coffee and it hasn't kicked in yet and I haven't worked out. But if I was to answer those emails after I worked out and having that endorphin release and having that altered state of consciousness, and that
you would be like,
well, I would be answering these emails and having better solutions to these problems that are,
because you would already be in that flow state.
Yeah. No, it's working out is, I mean, it's probably the biggest thing I could recommend to anybody.
100%. And no matter what it is, and I've come to this point where I used to have this kind of feeling of, if I don't have at least an hour, I'm just not going to do it at all. But like in reality, why can't you do 20 minutes or 30 minutes?
I do 30 all the time.
It's literally better than nothing. But I used to have this in my head is, if I can't devote a full hour to working out, I'm just not going to do it at all.
It's not called working out. It's not called working out.
Yeah. And that's such a silly, stupid mindset. And I'm starting to like slowly come out of that, where I'm like, even if it's 20 minutes of running on the treadmill or 30 minutes of weight lifting, whatever, hit cardio, something, it is literally better than doing nothing, which is what you are going to be doing.
Right. Even if and I think a lot of it has to do with because you're always, that was my misconception. You need the full hour to actually have a result. But the reality is like, you don't have to work out for appearance. You can work out for mental clarity.
Yes. For that day, maybe that's all you needed. It was literally for that mental clarity.
Yeah.
And yet you still had a good, usually workout during that anyway.
Yeah. What else? You got something else?
trying to think. What else do I like
I
to
swear,
do?
if you say chill out and hang out.
Well, I feel like sports wise, I do enjoy skiing a
Yes.
lot with you.
You tried golf for the first time.
Well, I didn't try golf.
Well, you tried some
It
swings.
was in our backyard in McCall.
Yeah.
I did. I feel like I could like it.
You should get into golf. I think it's a
Well,
good
you have to
fun.
take me golfing.
Just drive.
Just go. I'll have to
Yeah.
put it in the books.
Yeah.
I feel like I could enjoy it. Let's see. I like taking walks.
You're
Or
such
like
an old person. What? You
or like going hiking. I don't do it a lot, but I do enjoy it. Like just
I think
a
men and women are
scenic
just
hike.
wired so differently about some of
Yeah.
these activities and hobbies.
well because you guys have to have an end goal.
Do you know Kyle and I came to this conclusion the other day as we were driving from the cabin. We were talking about flipping stuff, like buying something and then flipping it for something, for more money as like a side hustle. And we realized that girls don't do that.
No.
And that
we
was
don't
like
care about that.
that was weird. Like we were talking about girls don't go buy collector things. Like you guys don't buy sneakers to sell. Like even purses. We were talking about one of his friends she bought a really expensive like purse. But it was as much as like a really expensive watch. But the thing with a watch, a guy can buy a watch and then let's say he buys an Omega Speedmaster, he could flip that watch, sell it for more money and make a profit out of it, or at least very least retain the value of that watch. You can't do that with like a Louis Vuitton purse. Like there's no
It depreciates. All that stuff depreciates.
and
Yeah.
you guys don't do that. That was we just realized it. We're like that. I didn't consider that. Girls don't buy things because of the value. Now, jewelry is one thing. If you get diamond earrings, diamond, necklace, but you guys aren't even selling that stuff. Even if you do want to,
I know. I don't think it's something I just.
but you
think
guys
about
have
or
no
want to
problem
do.
spending the money.
But the spending part is easy.
Yeah, I like to spend money. that was an interesting realization.
That is really interesting, and it's I think very true.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I've
Well, that's
never
fun.
thought about that.
That's fun.
If it does happen, it's always like an accident.
Right.
If you accidentally sell something,
Well, I
for
remember
more
you
money
were
than you
telling me
bought it.
something. I was like, when you sold that bookshelves, we've only literally had it for a few months, and
What
we just
bookshelf?
the one I was in the boys' room, the shelves, those big shelves
oh yeah,
in the nook, and you're like, how much did I put it for sale? I was like, no, you're like, I put it for sale for like a couple $100, and I go,
no, that was more than that.
well, but no, I was like, well, how much did you buy it for? You're like 1,000. I go, you got to charge way more than that. They're like in pristine condition.
No, I try to sell them.
Mm-hmm.
That's the thing is with furniture, it depreciates so quickly
Yeah.
that you can't sell something for the same price, even if it's literally brand new. Nobody will pay for that because
Yeah.
you've already owned it for
exactly.
even a day.
Yeah.
It just doesn't. People won't buy it if they could buy it brand new for the same almost the same
Yeah.
price.
Yeah.
I mean, shipping costs, you can that's what I'll usually do is I'm like, minus shipping, you could just pick it up from my house right now.
It'd be a different story if they don't sell that stuff anymore.
Yes.
There's a
And that's
list.
why I think the watches and these like collector items are very important. And that's why they do appreciate in value or at least retain the value is because they're probably hard to find or hard to get. But if you're just buying something from West Elm or Pottery Barn and trying to sell it, nobody's going to buy it from the same price
That's true. That's true.
because they can just buy it at the store.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you always want to get something that.
Purses too. I feel like a Louis Vuitton purse, somebody could just go buy it. It's not really that.
Well, he also made a good point that like purses, and correct me if we're wrong, but
I'm
they
probably
don't.
not the person to ask because I don't care that much.
Do they
about
make a
purses.
limited like a run of certain stuff? Because if it is, then
yes,
that's a
I will say colors sometimes are limited.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever, like series or whatever they do.
Mm-hmm.
There are a few, but I feel like it's more rare
Interesting.
to see that. But in like watches and stuff, they do that, right?
Yeah. Oh, for sure. And there's so many different variations. Let's say like Rolex, there's the or the GMT. There's so many different color like on your dial.
Yeah, and it's all like limited
The
stuff.
color, like they'll be like one's really popular called the Pepsi color, which is like half blue, and then the other part is half red. I don't like how it looks, but it's literally could be like an extra $5,000.
Yeah, because it's a limited series.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. Some of them are wild. Do you want to get a green one?
I think there's some probably women's like purses or something, jewelry that is limited edition that people probably would spend more money on, but I don't know that kind of stuff.
I was actually
because-
looking the other day. Rolex, there's because like everything, stock market, NFTs, crypto, everything's down. I think Rolex is up by like $3,000.
Really?
Yeah, like
People are,
yeah, they're so
they
it's
never lost.
you got to invest in Rolex.
I guess so. Are you trying to tell me something?
Can I buy a Rolex?
Invest.
I told myself if I hit like 1 million subscribers, I'll buy a
Ooh.
Rolex. So
That'll be your incentive.
please subscribe to the channel.
Please, guys, subscribe so Alex can get a Rolex.
Guys, there's like Sarah McLachlan music
Guys,
playing.
Yes.
In the arms.
And
the guys.
the angel.
Guys,
Fly away.
if you subscribe today, we're just going to be that much closer. It's all in your hands. I like it.
I'm starting to get higher and higher
know.
on my pitch. Good
Okay.
stuff.
All right, folks, this has been great. Thanks for listening. Please watch it on YouTube. Rate and review.
better
anywhere
on
you can.
YouTube.
It's so much better on YouTube. It's 4K. I mean, no, it's probably 1080p, but it's a
You can
nice
watch us
1080p.
laugh. You can watch Alex's
Have a hoot. Cut off sleeves.
cut off sleeves and his biceps just hanging out.
I saw a gal oogling at me at Lowe's today. And this.
No.
Okay, check this out. This chick.
What's her name?
I don't know.
Number, social security?
I went. Well, I don't know. I didn't talk to her.
You should have asked.
The problem is that would be the problem is if I did ask and you're like, why do you know so much about her? This chick was in high heels at Lowe's and she was giving me the googly eyes. And I go, you knock that off right now,
Knock
lady.
it off.
Knock
Tell
it
her to
off.
look down.
I went like this.
Say, my eyes are up here.
I was like,
Yeah. Just start barking.
So it's been a great day between golf and that.
You were just winning all
had a
around.
great day.
All around.
All right, folks. Bye-bye.
Bye.